I'm reading the first 8 verses from the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3. To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to gain and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. What Solomon is speaking to here is the natural ebb and flow of life. There are good times, there are bad times, and obviously, collectively, as a people, we are certainly experiencing a very dark and dramatic ebb in our time here. But what I think we have to keep in mind is this is, as Solomon explains here, is there's nothing new here. In fact, one of the constant themes throughout Ecclesiastes is there is nothing new under the sun. This has happened before, and we've come through. Israelites were in bondage, and they had their freedom. They were immensely wealthy, and then were exiled to Babylon. Throughout history, we've had this ebb and flow of life, and I think we need to avoid the trap of getting trapped in the ebb and just focusing on that and thinking this is the end and this is the darkest and focusing on that darkness. Let's focus on the flow. This is going to end. We all do. We all know that this is going to end, and there's going to be an end to this ebb, and there's going to be a flow again. So let's focus there. Let's focus on what we're going to do when it flows again. Also, let's use this time to focus on things that we hadn't had a chance to. Maybe our lives are too busy, and we now given this brief time here. It may seem long, but it's in the scheme of things. This is a very brief time. So, what can you focus on? What have you longed to do, but never had a chance to? So, I would encourage that. Later on in that chapter, verse 15, that which is has already been, and what is to be has already been, and God requires an account of what is past. That's another a comforting thought to back up the first 8 verses. This has been before. In 1920 we had the Spanish flu, and millions died. Just for that, just be grateful that we're living in this time, that we have so much medical, advancement in technology and knowledge compared to, our ancestors in 1920. Imagine how terrified they must have been. So that's just my encouragement. Also, sorry for skipping around, but 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 18. While we do not look at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporary, but the things which are not seen are eternal. So, again, let's focus, focus on the eternal life, and know that this is all temporary. This is just the ebb and flow of life, and we're all going to get through this, and life is going to be great. Thank you. Thanks for taking the time. God bless you all.